Welcome back to part 18 of my series in which I musically look at the score of Sondheim's Sweeney Todd and explore its marvelous musical elements. I apologize for the long period of time between my previous video and this one. Besides being busy with life and work stuff, this particular video went through numerous rewrites for the past 3 years as I tried to figure out how to finish this Sweeney Todd series. This video and the next two will focus on Act 2 of Sondheim's Sweeney Todd. Today's video will be interesting as I will focus on one of the most forgettable songs in Act 2, the Parlor Songs, but I promise I will get to the rest of the songs by video 20. The Parlor Songs consist of two short ditties, Sweet Polly Plunkett and Tower of Bray. These songs are unique because they are the only true diegetic songs in the show. Diegetic meaning they are part of the narrative. The songs exist in the world of the musical. Most of the time in musical theater, the music is part of the story and an extension of the story. The characters don't realize that they're singing and dancing any more than them realizing they're in a musical. The audience suspends their disbelief and goes along with it. Sometimes characters break the fourth wall, and sometimes the songs are integrated in the narrative with characters needing a reason to sing, such as Cabaret that takes place in a Kit Kat club, or Chicago that takes place at a vaudeville theater, or when Maria is singing to the kids with her guitar, or when the Von Trapp kids sing Adieu. And what is non-diegetic are the nuns literally singing and complaining about how much Maria sings all the time. They aren't aware that they're singing. And the Parlor Songs are an example of that. The Beatle is playing a harmonium and singing songs, and Mrs. Lovett sings with him to distract him. This is the only song in Sweeney Todd that is diegetic. There are definitely arguable parts of the musical where there's a blurry line, such as when Anthony and Joanna sing at each other, or especially when Sweeney whistles while giving the judge a shave.
In a merry mood today, Mr. Todd?
These songs, as Sondheim puts it, is his way of poking fun to twee English folk ballads.
I am a lass who alas loves a lad who alas has a lass loves another lad.
Besides the classic Sondheim wordplay, Sondheim also plays with lyrical cadences. Author Stephen Banfield compares Sondheim's In Canterbury to Gilbert and Sullivan's In the Queen's Navee in their 1878 opera HMS Pinafore, when it should be Canterbury and the Queen's Navy. But on top of that are the unique musical elements Sondheim uses, such as modes. Quick 20-second rundown on what a mode is. Most Western music for the past several hundred years is in the Ionian mode. But you can change the order of these steps to change the mode. A change to this is Lydian mode. English ballads, some from very old secular and folk traditions, will occasionally have fun mode mixing. In Sweet Polly Plunkett, we begin in G major, but then Sondheim turns this next phrase to the Lydian mode with the C sharp. And in the next measure, the Mixolydian mode with the F natural. Without these modes, the song might sound like this. But the mode mixture gives it some whimsy and twee, as Sondheim says. I love this measure here that has a Mixolydian C sharp in it, being sandwiched by C naturals on either side of it. I am reminded of a French Renaissance song, bass stance notated by Ronald Arbol, though recomposed for strings by Peter Warlock in the last century. This phrase lands on the C sharp, although sandwiched between C naturals, with the C natural clashing in the bass. Mode mixtures have been used to resolve half steps and leading tones. When we land on this C sharp, it wants to resolve back home to D minor. Without the half step, the tension to resolve is lost. And looking at the bass, the half step wants to resolve down from C natural to a B, as this seems to hold less tension. Additionally, the C natural sets us up nicely for when we land on the next measure. Instead of landing back home on D minor, we land on the relative F major, which needs a C natural. F major is the relative key to D minor as it shares the same accidentals. And the last measure of the same piece, we have this. Like in the last example, the bottom sounds fine because of where the leading tone is taking us, and the top part sounds fine too. But together it creates a clashity-clash. Back to my favorite part of Sweet Polly Plunkett, where a similar thing happens. Over here, though in G major, we are sprinkled on by a C sharp, though sandwiched between two C naturals, as it prepares to take us to an F major chord. The next song is Tower of Bray. Interesting thing about this song, in Sondheim's book, Finishing the Hat, he lamented, "My one regret about the score, Sweeney Todd, is that I missed an opportunity to musicalize this scene as Bond had written it, a scene in which Mrs. Lovett tries to poison the beetle. It was both hilarious and tense, involving, as it did, the time-ripened routine of switching glasses. The Tower of Bray was written for this purpose. A counting lyric that Mrs. Lovett could use as a drinking song, encouraging the beetle to knock one back with each verse. I was on a quest to find out what the Tower of Bray was. Follow me down this rabbit hole. Bray, Berkshire in England, about an hour drive outside of London, at the St. Michael's Church. This song refers to the Vicar of Bray, which isn't a specific person per se, but more of a satirical description of a vicar who keeps changing his political and religious stances because of the monarchy and religious changes at that time, and then staying steadfast to his grounded principles, or how it was quoted here,
"The vivacious Vicar of Bray, living under King Henry VIII, King Edward VI, Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth, was first a papist, then a Protestant, then a papist, then a Protestant again. He had seen some martyrs burnt 2 miles off at Windsor, and found this fire too hot for his tender temper. This vicar, being attacked by one for being a turncoat and an inconstant changeling, said, 'Not so, for I always kept my principle, which is this, to live and die.' The Vicar of Bray." Worthies of England, published 1662.
There might be some social commentary to be said, the beetle, a politician who does not hold consistent moral principles throughout the story. Anyways, this little history tangent had nothing to do with music theory, I just thought it was interesting. Last thing I wanted to musically share in Tower of Bray is the Picardy Third. What is a Picardy Third? This song is in G minor, but this phrase here ends in G major. This was a common thing that happened in secular music since the 17th century and before. Why? Because the church deemed it so, and major sounds more uplifting and spiritual. Picardy Third because the third note of the chord is raised. Picardy because Theory 1 came from the Picardy region in France and their bunch of big cathedrals. Theory 2 comes from the old French word picard, meaning pointed or sharp, and how the minor third gets raised or pointed up to a major. Anyways, I'm glad to be back to explore the most forgettable but one of the most unique songs in Sweeney Todd. In the next video, I'll be looking at another strange song in Act 2, The Letter. Thank you for watching.